You're listening to The Broker Show with The Broker Joe, your expert in all things real estate. Hot topics, market trends, even your questions. It's all on the table. Hosted by The Broker Joe and co-hosted by Etch. Hey, it's The Broker Show, and I am The Broker Joe. Welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in. Thrilled you tuned in. This is episode 7. On episode 7, Etch, we're cruising along.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And yes, I am excited to share some great, gritty stuff with everyone today. We're going to talk about finding traction and the lies that we tell.
Ooh.
But first, Etch, it's good to be. I am here with Etch, co-host of The Broker Show.
How's it going, guys? Happy to
going
be
good.
here. And I hear there's some snow that's coming up before Christmas.
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely. It's that time of year. It's starting to settle in. Yeah, I did have some clients that live in the UP, just closed their house a couple days ago. And they said, Joe, no snow. And I'm concerned. I just bought my season tickets to Cabernet,
Right,
for the whole family, and I'm like, well, they're better. And really, they don't need the snow, right? They just need it to be cold so they can make it, right?
Yeah.
But that was never a problem when I grew up. That's for sure.
You
Never
gotta have a reason to eat nice warm pasties.
Yeah.
That's like the big thing. My stepmother is from up there.
Okay.
And she's like all the time. If you're watching this, my apologies for the terrible, dialect here. But you had
She's
some
from
pasties.
the UP. Oh, she's from the UP, eh?
You don't know good pasties until you had them the way that I made them. And she's right.
Yeah.
Like we even went up there over
Yeah.
what was it? Like July, we went up there, and she tried some of the pasties that were up there. She's like, they're not the same as mine.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we tasted hers. I was like, you're right.
Yeah.
they weren't half as good.
Yeah.
She makes them a certain way. But the big question up there is with or without gravy.
Oh, gotcha.
That's like the big thing. It's like if you're like straight up Uper, it's either with or without gravy.
Yeah.
And if you have it wrong, then you're not straight up from above the bridge.
I feel like they all kind of look sideways at us too when we try to make fun. Like we're trying to understand them or trying to make joke. They're like you don't get it. You don't get anything. Yeah, I mean I'm usually pretty warmed up. You break out the. Have you ever heard the 30-point buck?
Oh, I love.
Oh yes, this is the time of year to break it out. Yep. And my sister-in-law, she's from Minnesota.
Oh yeah.
And so she has no accent. To her credit, Vanessa, if you hear this, I'm so sorry. But she doesn't have an accent, but I'm always warmed up because I'm always got the and everything. Ooh, how's it over there in Minnesota?
Have you ever seen the movie Drop Dead Gorgeous?
Yes, yeah. It's been a long time. Yeah.
One of my absolute favorites. Yeah. Great movie. But snow coming up, leading up to Christmas, and I gotta think because you said you were from
Northern Maine. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean,
crazy. Yeah. And I don't think, again, having never lived in the UP, but driving through and it being there in the wintertime and hearing the stories, a lot of similarities actually to how I grew up. And but Northern Maine, so very, very top, about 10 to 12 miles from the border, from the U.S.-Canadian border up in Fort Kent, Wallagrass area.
Oh, wow.
And when I was a kid, the road we lived on, Slybrook Road, no electricity, no running water, no nothing like that. It was back in the boonies, man. So I grew up hardcore. 27 feet of snow a year, I believe, was the average in that decade in which I was born. One time, our family was so curious, we did some research. So 27 feet of snow. And in January, 40 below, 50 below zero every single night. Wind chills 80 to 100 below zero. Very extreme weather. And I mean, we heated, we lit with oil lamps. We heated with wood. My dad was a woodcutter. Yep. He cut wood in the woods. Mm-hmm. And so it was me at home with mom and I was the oldest, so the little Ben at the time. And I split wood, stacked wood, plowed the driveway. We mowed the grass with the yard sale lawnmower. Yep. It was crazy. I loved it. Didn't know any different, right? Just hard work, and we made it by on like $10,000 a year.
Jeez.
We got our food, venison, beans, rice, and ungodly amounts of oatmeal. I hate oatmeal so much.
I was going to say,
hate it.
How much of those foods that you ate when you were a kid because they were forced down your throat?
Oh my gosh, it's all we had. Anything else was a luxury. Potatoes were a luxury. We would go out every fall and we would dig potatoes up out of the fields because the soft corners, the farmers can't catch them.
Right.
So they would leave them for people like us, right? And we come and we put them in buckets and bags, and that's what we got through the winter on.
Wow.
Yeah. And Christmas this time of year, there's a picture. I don't know where it is. It's an old picture we had of a Christmas. I was maybe 8 or 9 years old, and we're huddled up around the tree. And in the winter, it never got over 50 in the house. It never got. And you had the wood stove firing. It might get over 50, but just a log home. My dad cut the trees down, stacked them up. That's what we grew up in. Was this log home in northern Maine. And so, and in the picture, you can see all of our breath in the air. We're inside. Jeez. We're around the tree, huddled up, all of our breaths in the air, like, hey, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe the UP. I think it does get really cold up there. Yeah. Obviously, I don't think they have anything on the way I grew up, though. I don't think so. We can go to bat over it, though, sometime.
I bet you there's a few up there that have been like,
maybe.
I haven't seen a woman in 5 months.
Yeah, maybe.
There's always that one guy that's
right.
He comes down, his beard's down to like his belly button.
Yeah.
You're like, where did you come from?
Yeah.
Like, how old are you, sir? And he's like, I'm 42 years old. You're like, you look like you're 90. Yeah. Like, how is this possible?
Yeah.
I haven't seen a woman.
Oh, man. There's a lot of truth to a lot of it. But, those hard work, man.
Yeah.
That's how I grew up. Hard work and discipline, a lot of self-discipline for survival. And at the end of the day, you watch the reality TV shows, right? Zoom in on all these people in crazy climates and crazy way out there locations. And a lot of them, not so probably true to life. I don't know who they pick on for these shows, but at the end of the day, a lot of hard work, discipline it takes to survive and get through. And it's, a lot of it's brought me to where I am today.
And that was going to be my next question. Yeah. What was like the transition point? Was it hard for you to transition from that lifestyle to, I hate to say, but more of like a modern day lifestyle of things are more convenient if I just live here and I have the luxuries that I have now. Mm-hmm. What was that transition like for you?
I think that you don't take things for granted. And that's an easy thing to say, but there is a lot of truth to it. And that's not a rule by rule, but it certainly was for me.
Yeah.
And so you don't take opportunity is rare. Fresh opportunity is rare. And so I didn't take it for granted. Mm-hmm. And there were challenges along the way. There's no doubt. Socially, right? Economically, right? So you go from everyone knows that lifestyle, right? You're making $25,000 a year, and you get a raise or get a new job, and you go to 35, and you feel poorer than you were before, right? And so there's this lack of discipline that can come with success or moving forward or growth. And so that is something that growing through that and learning that and understanding that to build a future, you have to leverage whatever leverage you have. Everyone has leverage. Everyone's got some. No matter how down and out or difficult things might be, find your leverage, skinny up, and find success. I mean, I've talked about house flipping. My first couple were trailers, right? Single wides that I'd be at work and come home and live the rest of the evening underneath trying to fix plumbing or who knows what. Oh my gosh, such a nightmare. The first year we got married, we lived in a little tiny single wide that she moved there from here, bless her heart. So we lived in Maine for a couple years after we got married, then moved back here about 13 years ago. So our trailer in the winter, it disappears. Right, so the only thing you could see of our trailer in January was a little, just like this much. We got a picture, just like that much of the ridge cap, right? And the only other part you could see was the front window because it's where we parked, right? So we plowed it out, and the snow fell away from the front window. But other than that, it was like snow. Right over top of the trailer, and you could just see a little bit. I mean, just a little bit in that picture that I had of the top of that trailer. Incredible. So tough times. But building strong people, and it all works the same, right? The same hard work, the same getting up early, the same doing the right thing over and over again.
Right.
It's just the habits that kind of bring us through the ups and the downs that keep things moving forward.
Yeah.
In the right way. We're going to talk about that today. Traction.
Right. And I was going to say that was bringing up that's our topic of the day, and we're talking about where do you go, how do you start? Because we've talked about just buying a home.
Yeah.
And when you say that, on the outside, it's like, hey, well. I'm going to go and see if I can buy a home. But what are all of the things that come with that? I mean, there's your credit score. There's how much do you have in savings? How much can you put out there as a down payment? All these different things. And for many of these people who are first-time buyers, renters. I mean, I've rented for years, and it wasn't until my fiance and I moved in with each other that I was like, wow, I'm essentially a homeowner. I'm not necessarily on the title.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
This is our home together, and we treat it as our home.
Yes.
And then the next one that we go to,
Yeah.
we plan on putting both of the names on the
Yes.
title. But I mean, I'm 39 years old. When I first moved out, I was 24.
Yeah.
And I've rented from age
Yes.
24 until we've been in the house for 2 years now. It's been 2 years, December 10th, I think it was. So it's been 2 years now. So I went from 24 years old to 37.
24 to 37.
So it's
you
about
spend an average of
13
roughly
years.
120. The average American will spend about $120,000 on rent in that period of time.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
And it depends, obviously, where you live. Like my rent when I lived in Florida for a 1-bedroom, it was probably 700 square feet tops, one bedroom. Nice, albeit, because I was always like, I don't want it to be in a slum.
Yeah.
You know, I want to at least have security, that kind of thing for my then wife. I wanted to make sure that if I was out on the road, because I was touring a lot, working for, you know, concerts and everything else, that when I was out on the road, I didn't have to worry about somebody breaking in.
Gotcha.
You know, that kind of thing. So you spent upwards to $1,200 on a 1-bedroom.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was nothing.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, and this is coming from a guy who back then I was making $25,000 a year before taxes and insurance
Incredible.
for 2 of us.
Just paying rent.
Right.
That's
so
it.
3
Yeah.
quarters. And I mean, you want to go like the Dave Ramsey route and be like, oh no, you should be able to pay. This is how much you want to hit as far as what you can afford as a monthly payment for your living standards. And then, I mean, if we looked at that and broke down the numbers back then, I had no business living in anything above a $300 a month apartment.
Yeah.
But then I look at that, and then I look when I moved to Big Rapids, and it was like, oh, more affordable.
How much more
500
leverage? Yeah, sure.
500 bucks a month for a very small place, but it worked for me at the time.
Yeah.
It was just right. Me and my 2 cats, we got by just fine. And then came we're transitioning to being a family now.
Yeah.
So now I got to upgrade. But then I look back at all the rent that I paid and all the money that I gave to somebody else's dream.
Correct.
Somebody else's,
Correct.
you know, and saying, hey, I just funded your vacation to go where I have always wanted to go.
Yeah.
You know, oh, now I see my landlord just went to Hawaii. Well, I can't afford to go to Hawaii.
There will always be people that are moving up through that system,
Yep.
right? And they're renting because they're transitioning, they're changing careers, they're moving toward their destination,
Right.
But that's what we're going to talk about is traction and moving forward. And so, but let me frame some things for
Yeah,
our
please
listeners
do.
and our viewers. So, if you are one of those people that were in shock, right? Maybe people are more aware than they are now than they were, especially since the crash and some things have tightened up. A lot of things have tightened up across the industry.
Yes.
They go to get a mortgage and they're shocked at how difficult it is. They're shocked at all the requirements and they give up and give up and give up. Seen it thousands of times, literally thousands and thousands of times. I've seen so many people give up. So let me explain a few things. There's a blessing and a curse here. Right, so we'll talk about the curse side right now, and that is that, you know, the real estate industry is integrally tied to the state of the economy.
Yep.
So it's not like a car, right? So the car industry is a whole nother ball of wax here we can talk about, but we're not going to go into today. But you can go get a car, and in 15 minutes, you got a decent job. You can walk away with a $50,000 brand new vehicle. Okay. Makes me very sad, makes me very sick sometimes. I know, and good for you, you can afford it, you go get a nice vehicle. The thing is, you are driving an asset that drops in 10 to 15% in value the minute you pull it off the lot, and then you're paying interest on something that is depreciating, okay? You're paying payments and you're driving something that depreciates every time you turn the key. Real estate is the opposite, right? Every day, every time you make a payment, you're lowering your balance on that mortgage, and every day you live in it, over a period of time, the value is going up. It's appreciating, right? That's how real estate works. So it's an appreciating asset that you're paying off, right? So that's the 2 big differences. Real estate's different though, right? Real estate is so difficult. One of the reasons is it's protecting. The reason those laws and rules are in place because when the housing bubble popped, guess what happened to everyone? The economy crashed because of the housing bubble. That's how inherently it was tied to the state of the economy as a whole. It's not just like, oh, refrigerators, you know, someone just came up with a great easy way to make them and now they're half off. Economy's not going to crash because refrigerators get more affordable, right? We'll all probably be pretty thankful.
Yeah.
But housing is really intrinsically tied to that. And so the blessing is that houses, it's to protect the economy, right? It's to protect so many different facets that are tied to housing. So the blessing in it is that it's created the necessity for good financial habits, right? So we can talk about financial habits In the next episode, actually, this is going to be a part 2 series. The next episode, we're going to talk about some of the nuts and bolts of getting your credit together, getting your credit up, getting things paid down, talking about investments. Where should I start? Got some really good advice for you there, but I want to talk about the mindset right now because it is challenging. I've seen people give up over and over again because they don't have the discipline. And again, I'm not harping on anyone. It's difficult. These are problems that everyone has. I've seen people blame a lot of things. We are interesting as people. We always find something to blame. And when I was a kid, rock music was going to ruin the world, right? and then the internet was available, right? And the internet's going to destroy everything. It's the greatest evil of all time, right?
And then Cardi B came out.
And then Cardi B, right? And then his rap music, and now it's social media. That new movie came out.
Social Network,
Social Dilemma, right? I think it's called.
That one.
Yep. That was a big one right there. It's going to ruin the world. And Aristotle said that the written word was going to destroy the world. Right? Now, we quote him. He was a great guy. He was a great philosopher. But he said the written word is going to destroy humanity because of all the knowledge and information that people won't know what to do with. There's always something to blame our problems on. The thing is, we're not disciplined. This is why people do fall into the traps that they fall into. They don't have to, turn the phone off. Turn off the notifications. Mark Zuckerberg can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
You switch off those notifications, you set up your phone, there's no one anything can do. No one can control you, but you picking up that phone and getting engaged and getting in a habit of giving your time, your most precious, infinite resource, right, away to other things, right? So we're going to talk about some discipline. There's 2 types of people in today's world, I believe: people that have control of their time, and people that time has control of them. And that is the constant battle, is finding the time, because we could talk about the answers all day long. Etch, I'm pretty sure both of us could say we'd rather be in better shape, probably eat better than we do.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we have those answers, right? We go to McDonald's in spite of the fact that we know that is bad for us, right?
French fries.
On one hand, we're saying that we want to get more fit. On the other hand, we continually do everything that we do is diametrically opposed sometimes to what we say our goals are in life, right? So we all know that if we want a better relationship, we need to spend more quality time, right? So we say it, we know it, we're aware of it. Information is more available to people than it ever has been. The ability to go online, and now virtually, the best speakers, the best information, workshops, resources, conferences, all available online from the comfort of our home. But you know what? Engaging in that, it's painful, right? People aren't doing it. And the reason we're not doing it is because we believe the lies that we're telling ourselves. We're going to talk about those lies. So I don't believe a word that comes out of my mouth. Right?
Yeah.
Because what I do, the habits that I have formed, the disciplines that I have in my life are what are actually dictated what I really am going to do. Everyone talks about the things they're going to do. They talks about the great habits they want to build. They want to be in shape. Or here comes New Year's is right around the corner. We're going to have a bunch across the world. They're going to be talking about all the great things they want to accomplish in 2021. And so, but it's the small, little, not sexy things. The boring things, the dry things, the dull things that are actually going to win us these battles. And so we get so caught up in the fun stuff, right? And that's why social media is so attracting. It is so attractive to people because it is, you kind of get high on it, right? There's all these wins and successes from your family and your friends and the people around you. And we kind of supplants our own success, our own moving forward and getting traction in a world with so much distraction.
And I feel like and I think we can all agree on this one with what we're in right now as far as the pandemic goes, as far as the uncertain state of what's next. Where's the end of this? What, are we coming down to this, end of the tunnel, or what's going on? To where I feel like a lot of us, more so than ever now, are looking at things going, I go on my phone to get away.
Yeah.
It's my breakaway. I could pull up my phone right now and show you guys on the camera. I have a whole folder dedicated to mind-numbing games. Okay, and this is legit. So I have a one that I just downloaded that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. But see, I like tinkering with things. I like building things. I like fixing things. I always joke that when my ex-wife and I used to get in a fight, she used to take the remote and smash it against because she'd be mad, and then I'd tell her I'd fix it and resolder it back together. And instead of being like, "Oh, I'm going to put this away," she doesn't do it again, I would give it to her again.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "Don't do it again," and then she'd smash it again. But it was because I loved soldering so much. The game that I have on my phone right now that I'm playing more than anything else is an electronics repair game.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's stupid.
It might actually be a little constructive.
It's mind numbing because it's like you just put your little finger on like the little thing. It's like bzz, 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 and those are the screws that come out. And then it's the defective thing that water fell on. So you got to take that little chipboard out, put that one in, and then just like solder it back together, and then slap it on. And then they're like, "Oh, thank you. Here's $300 to upgrade your apartment." So they like pay you. But again, it's ridiculous because it's a reality game.
Sure.
It's something that people do in real life.
Yeah.
But because my own life is so saturated with just what is going on in this world right now, that I retreat when I get home to sit down on my phone and just go. And then I get in that rabbit hole. Because then the next game pops up of an advertisement. I'm like, ooh, that one's fun.
Sure.
And then I pop up that one.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, it's 9 o'clock at night. And my fiance is going, "Are you going to spend time with the family?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Right after I repair this PS5, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I see what you're getting at. And your time is so important.
It is. And to help clarify, there's distractions that are healthy that we choose. And I think when I say healthy, I want to be very careful to clarify this here. I'd say there's a lot of people that look across at someone else that has their own distraction, and they might be judgmental about that distraction. So to me, this is my opinion. The difference between watching a football game or playing a video game or going skiing, what is your chosen distraction? Those are the obvious distractions.
Yeah.
And you know what? We've got bad habits there. Do you know what's going to keep people from achieving these goals that we're talking about? From all the little steps that I'm going to put on the table here, are the lies. Are the ways that because if I'm on a phone, I'm like, I'm on the phone right now.
Right.
I'm distracted. This is a choice. This is my hobby. Whether it's I don't care what it is, playing a video game, whatever it might be. There's not one that's really better or whatever. It's all what you want to do. But it's the ways that we fill our space with the urgent day to day.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So I sit down and I go, you know what, Etch? Today, in this time, I have put on the calendar from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock that I am going to tackle this thing that's keeping me from getting my credit score on the direction towards where it needs to get.
Right.
This is a step towards traction, right? So here's the time. So I sit down, but I'm just going to check my emails real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. It's going to be super quick. Dog's barking in the background. I'm supposed to schedule to get the dog fixed. Gosh dang it. I keep forgetting about that. I've got to get it. I just got to get it done.
Yep.
Right. Here comes a text, right? It's my daughter. I've got to text her back, right? I'm going to text her back. And now someone just commented on that Facebook post that I just got to know what they had to say about that. I got it. It's going to be so quick. I'm just going to check. Stack up those little distractions 10,000-fold. These are all things that we lie to ourselves. There are these uncomfortable triggers that we live through, and we lie to ourselves, and the lie is that these things are urgent, okay? I'll talk more next episode about the scheduling fallacy that we have, but we have this thing where we have this to-do list, right? And we have 100 things to do, and we do 30 of them. What are the 30 that we always do? The ones that are easy, familiar, the things that are convenient, and we try to find a way to move forward and feel successful by doing those little things. And but again, it's lies. They're keeping us from getting the traction that we need to move forward because we're letting the hours as a real estate agent, right?
Yep.
It's very easy to get distracted. There's no one making us go to work. We get up when we want. We go to bed when we want. It's what we put in is what we get out. So we're at work and we're clicking this and calling that and texting this and calling that. And we're like, oh, it's been a day, right? But really, what happened today?
What did you accomplish?
Did you get traction in the ways that you need to move forward?
Right.
So I just want to encourage our listeners. If you're looking into buying a home, you're trying to get out of the renting hamster wheel, you want to begin to build equity and future for yourselves, these words, these things that I found really have worked for not just myself, but so many people, they could change your life and they could lead to great success in the future in real estate, winning these battles you've been fighting to win forever, not letting these distractions keep you from getting traction. The reason I'm saying these words, by the way, traction is truly the opposite of distraction. If you say distracted, you might think focus is. It's not focus. It's getting traction. So it's the same Greek root word. You have traction and you have distraction. They're the same, right? They are the true opposites. Finding traction, moving forward, doing the things that you have avoided because all the other things, the urgent, are overwhelming what is actually important. If I could have any superpower, it would be being indistractable.
Right.
Indistractable from what's going to give me traction, what's going to move me forward. I want to pick and choose my time and place, right? And having that control over your time, it's a finite resource. It is. We have constraints. People want to talk about, I want to be free. I don't want to have any constraints. I want to do what I want to do. That's not true. We live in a world full of constraints, and we have to follow. We have to see the constraints we have, recognize them, and make sure that we're getting traction in all the areas that we need to move forward. So I do want to share some good stuff. What you got to do, the calls you have to make, the best way to move forward. But without the right mindset and mentality, it's a waste of time. You'll constantly be distracted. You'll go make that poor decision. That in a minute you can make that commitment or that decision that will then handicap you again for another year, and then again for another year, and you fall into these life cycles, unable to pull out of it. Right. Makes me sad. Want to see people win and move forward.
Absolutely.
Get traction in their goals.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then that's what the next episode will be. More diving in on how to do this. So, prefacing the next episode was obviously what you were just talking about, having it so that your traction is there. Now, with this episode, your mindset hopefully is kind of changing of going, well, that makes sense. I do spend a lot. Awareness, I think, is number one.
Yeah, it is.
You got to be
Awareness
self-aware, and that's where it all starts with. So if you're looking at buying that new home, if you're looking at saying, I just want to start down that path. That's where you begin. And such enlightening information that you just shared with us. So moving on, the next episode, we're going to dive a lot further
Part
into
2, yes.
How does that all, now that you got the right mindset, and now that you're starting to say, okay, that's how I start to build traction, we're going to go into more in depth of how that relates to the real estate market and getting into it and all that. So we want you to stick around for that. How do we find you on your socials, Joe?
Yeah, so if you like what we're saying or want to chime in, or you don't like what we're saying and you want to comment on it, have at me. Go follow me on Instagram at The Broker Joe, or Twitter at The Broker Joe, or you can find me on Facebook at The Broker Joe, and like us, follow us, share us, whatever you feel like doing. We appreciate, don't we?
Absolutely.
Every
little comment, every little like, every little share, it does a lot. Not for us, because I don't care about my ego. Mine was shattered years ago. But when it comes down to it, it just helps get the word out a little bit more when your friends, though, and it just might help somebody who's looking to purchase a home or is looking for advice on how to flip or something like that. So go ahead and give us a like, give us a share. We appreciate all of you.
Yes, we do.
Until the next episode,
I'm Broker Joe.
And I am Etch.
Next time.